Welcome to the Thumbstopper podcast. My name is Omamoto, and this series is a first of its kind look into the lives of the content creators that bring us joy every single day. Thumbstopper is also the official podcast of the DStv Content Creator Awards in association with Samsung Galaxy. In this series, we'll travel behind the stories, behind the content that you see every day on your timeline and FYP. On our first episode, we chat to our very own founder, Manuela Dias de Deus, to find out what motivated her to go on the epic journey of starting an awards property all from scratch, aimed directly at content creators. So stay locked in, there's a lot to learn in the next 20 minutes.
Content Creator Awards podcast, scene 1, take 1.
Welcome to the official Content Creator Awards podcast, the first of its kind in the country, in the world, wherever you go. This is the only place that we celebrate content creators for the joy that they bring to our lives every single day.
That was a very beautiful intro.
Thank you. I was about to ask, like, how good,
You did
how good was the intro?
good.
I've read
Super impressive.
I read all the press releases. I read the website. Welcome. This is the Content Creator Awards podcast, the first of its kind ever. My name is Omamoto. With me today, Manuela, you're going to have to forgive me if I
was going to say,
the
I
surname.
challenge you to say my surname.
It is our very own Manuela Dias de Deus.
Well done-ish, but you did
How, like, out of 10?
7.
A 7?
But it's
Okay.
okay.
I've heard people, I think, properly butcher your name.
I know. That's why we try not to say it on radio.
So it's just Manuela.
That's right. Manuela's perfect. Thanks, Omar.
Manuela, you are, I mean, it's easy for me to say, oh, you're here, but for context, what is your role with the Content Creator Awards?
So it sounds so like,
Flashy. It is
found
very
it.
flashy. Yeah, it's very flashy.
Came up with this. No, in all sincerity, so I founded a company called One Eye Jack in 2011. And then in 2021 had the idea to create the Content Creator Awards and managed to get it all together and make it happen with the incredible people that were around to support. And here we are today. And then somebody in this room had a bright idea. Let's start a podcast.
And then somebody else said, hey, that's a good idea. Seconded. Year 2, Manuela, year 2. We are fully into the campaign. We are fully into the project for 2023. But we have to go back. I know that you have said that I've told the story before, but for the people that don't know, that are listening to this podcast right now, that are only hearing about the Content Creator Awards for the very first time, what are the Content Creator Awards and how did they come to be?
So I think I might have to start and tell you a little story.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take you back to a time that was really, really dark. Guys, it was a dark time. You can't laugh. Okay.
No, it was a dark time.
It was a dark time.
Yeah.
So it was COVID. I was at home with my 3-year-old little girl it was a blessing to be with her, but it also had a lot of challenges, obviously being in lockdown for 32 days with the 3-year-old. So it was quite intense at times. And I personally consumed more content than I ever had before. And I don't know if it was because content creators got better or had more time to produce content, or my friends were sending me stuff, or maybe because I actually had 5 minutes to stop and pause and actually watch content. But it was, content creators literally got me through lockdown. And then at the end of 2021, I was at an awards event that celebrates the advertising industry. And I noticed that every single campaign case study that was coming up had content creators in the advertising. And I was like, well, it's amazing you're all using content creators in your campaigns, but what is there out there that actually celebrates them? Yeah. And that's when the penny dropped, and I thought, let's do Content Creator Awards. Yeah. And that's how the idea was born. Then seeing it to fruition is a whole different story, because coming up with an idea is one thing, and then actually making it happen is entirely something different. So that was quite an exciting challenge as well.
I mean, just to look back at year 1, what were the frustrations? Or not necessarily frustrations, but what were the stumbling blocks in presenting this? Because this was a one-of-a-kind, first of its kind. Nobody had ever done anything like this before. What were those stumbling blocks to get from conceptualization to, damn, it's awards night now, we're putting on a show? Like, what were the roadblocks there?
So I think just using back to that word frustrations, honestly, the minute you said that, the first thing that came to mind was there were no frustrations. It was, I've never felt more alive and like that this is something that's going to have to be amazing and put everything that I could behind it. In terms of the stumbling blocks, for the very first thing was I had no resource and I had no ways, no means to make this awards happen. I mean, if you think about it, was COVID, where One Eye Jack is, PR, influencer relations, live events, we were struggling like so many businesses were. And now I'd come up with a new business idea and wanted to launch it with no startup capital. So the very first thing I had to do was then rally the brands, people, suppliers who'd worked with for years, ask them if they thought this thing was a good idea, if they wanted to get behind it. And luckily, everybody thought it was a fantastic idea and got behind it. And that for me was what made it happen. What seems quite obvious is the most difficult thing to do to get this going was to find the money to make it happen. We had the idea. I went into the team at One Eye Jack and said, got this incredible idea to create an awards event that celebrates content creators. What do you all think? And the team were like, we love it. We're behind it.
Yeah.
And then got on the phone with contacts we had at MultiChoice and said to DStv, did they want to come on board and support it? And it was such an interesting call because I don't think I've ever been so honest on a call in my life when they asked, what do you need? And I said, I need you. I need the support. I need a brand like DStv behind us. We need your airtime. Then pitched to TikTok, to various other brands to come on board. And that's how we actually got the startup capital to make it happen, because people believed in the event. Luckily, we've got an incredible reputation within in the industries. They believed in us. And creating a first-time event property of this nature with such big brands behind it who are basically going, okay, we believe you, we trust you, go forth and make it happen. It's a little bit like, could be a bit intimidating, but I was like, great, let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was just the most incredible experience.
I mean, kudos to you. This is pioneering, right?
Thank you.
This is pioneering. But good to go back to now. Okay, cool. We're in the second year. What are the lessons learned? What are the things that are changing this year, specifically with the awards, with you personally, in how you're approaching things, but also how the awards are happening this year? Because there are changes.
Yeah.
There are changes to categories. There are categories that have dropped out. There are categories that are coming in.
Yeah.
What are those differences and why are those changes happening?
I think everything is sort of whilst we've got a lot of experience of creating awards events of this nature, we have not had experience working with content creators in this way, because nothing like this ever existed before. So you kind of adapt as you go. And I think what we're doing is learning a lot from creators in terms of what categories are more valuable. We're getting feedback from creators, and we just, I think just kind of listening and watching and kind of changing it as we need to. I don't think that personally that there have been a hell of a lot of changes this year. I know last year we did the Cassie Marketing Lab in Cape Town. This year we're doing it in Joburg. We've changed the name a little bit of that. But essentially the rollout is still the same. What we'd like to do every year is try and keep it to 20 categories. Because, we want to make it quite difficult to win one of these awards. And if you have too many categories, I just guess it gives you more chance to win. I don't know. More options, but to try and limit it to 20 categories each year.
And I think the thing for me, just being a part of the process, and also just as a creator myself, watching the thing happen, watching it all roll out, it's been fun and also inspiring to see the commitment to not just the brand, because a lot of marketing agencies, a lot of PR companies will commit to, okay, cool, we need to satisfy the brand, we need to satisfy the sponsors, we need to get them happy. But at the same time, with the Content Creator Awards, you've built this thing where it's also important that the creator feels involved, that they feel like they are appreciated. I know that it's the entire ethos of the awards is which we're celebrating you.
Yeah.
But very often with award shows and with awards events, it's difficult to find that balance. How do you maintain, like when you start the campaign, when you are busy with talking to the creators, talking to the influencers, the brands and the agencies, how do you make sure that it's clear that this is what this is and this is what we want to maintain it as? Are those tough conversations?
Not really. I think the very ethos of the Content Creator Awards is essentially it's an awards event that celebrates content creators, but and maybe this is what people don't know, but we utilize creators wherever we can in the entire ecosystem of the awards. So we discovered you through our friends at TikTok. We were like, we don't have a TikTok account. TikTok, could you recommend someone that you think we should use? And Omar's actually worked with us from last year, was the face of the DStv Content Creator Awards, and is continuing and has worked with us on a lot of other stuff as well. And then essentially we look to creators to write, direct, produce content, to be a show. This awards event, it's all about the content creators. So essentially, we're always watching what somebody's doing. And for me, I'm personally, that'd be amazing if they could do a little segment in the show. Yeah. So it's just a case of, I think we just keep on watching what the creators are doing. Creators are approaching us going, we'd love to be involved. Yeah. And maybe it's a case of this can't happen without the creators. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So
that has to be the entire ecosystem.
100%.
Manuela, the Emerging Content Creator Workshop has happened. It was a room full of new emerging, what do we call them? Aspiring content creators, aspiring influencers, as much as I have a thing about that word. But it's a thing. People aspire to be these people in the public eye, but they have to engage with certain people along the way that are going to be booking them for a campaign. Yeah. They are going to be scouted for a movie, a TV series, a presenter job, MC, whatever. Why is it so important that we are hosting these events? What are they getting from the Emerging Content Creator?
This question, why is it important that we host these events? I don't think you can do something like create an awards event that celebrates content creators without having something in your program that uplifts from the very beginning. So, the DStv Content Creator Awards to have substance, right? It can't just be an awards event that celebrates existing, celebrated, established creators.
It needs to be sustainable.
Absolutely. So I think by having sort of incubator workshops, workshops for emerging talent, you bring your talent into a room, your talent are also allowed to watch or able likely to watch on the TikTok Live. And the whole point is really just to give one day of a room full of experts where you actually learn from people that you're following, learn from brands that you want to work at. So when we did, for example, we work on the Comics Choice Awards as well. And for Comics Choice Awards, we hosted an incubator workshop the next day after doing the Newcomer Showcase for new comedians. And what was really, really interesting for me was how much how hungry everybody was in the room to learn. And that is the very same feeling we had at the Emerging Content Creator Workshop that we had at Workshop 17 in Sandton. Was just everybody in that room was absolutely silent. We had incredible creators sitting on panels talking about how to monetize their content, how they found their niche, how they work with brands, what the mistakes that they've made. I mean, it's really, really, for me, quite cool to hear somebody kind of be a little bit
self-aware, self-deprecating.
Self-deprecating. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, I made a real big issue in this year, and this is how I overcome it. And I think that's kind of cool. It's human stories. So
it's authentic.
It absolutely is. So there's one thing about sort of learning about content creation by watching videos online or, scrolling through somebody's feed. But there's an entirely different experience sitting in a room and be able to put your hand up and ask a question. So I think a lot of people would have come away from that with a lot of knowledge to process. I mean, we had a lot of speakers from big brands right through to emerging creators, right through to established creators, right through to agencies, from influencer marketing agencies to PR agencies, actually letting creators know how to PR themselves and build their brands and how to run themselves as a business. And I think that having sort of one day of learning to touch on all of those elements, so you can realize, okay, cool, I did know that I'm cool. Or actually, I need to know a little bit more about that. Let me do a little bit more research. And then every year we're going to hope to build in more and more of these incubator workshops. So last year we did it in Khayelitsha. This year we did it in Joburg. There's a big call for us to go to KZN, which hopefully we will. And as this event grows, we're hoping to grow these workshops with it.
I just want to pivot for a second. Move away from the
word.
Pivot. I promise I will not say pivot.
It's such a COVID-19 trigger.
Oh, really? The word pivot.
Pivoted. Are you in an advertising agency, or are you in like the marketing world?
Oh, is it jargon? Is it jargon?
Pivoted. Oh,
What about, okay, but what does it mean?
So well. It's like, our business is doing so well. We pivoted during COVID. Oh, because the rest of us are actually dying, but it's okay. You pivot.
I was actually gonna get to that, to just a little bit of like coming out of COVID. Has the business changed?
Our business,
yeah. Like in general, like in the world of marketing, in the world of putting up events, obviously things have changed, but we've seen a change in content creation and the way that brands and agencies work with content creators. Has it changed? I mean, from your side, because to me, I'm a content creator, right? I'm the one that gets approached. I'm the one that puts the content out. I'm just using myself. I'm the one putting out the content on a daily basis, but I don't expect any brand or agency to see me. Or is it now the opposite, where brands and agencies are actively searching for the next big thing?
Absolutely. I mean, as an agency, we always have, a pool of creators that are on our radar, whether we watch them personally or whether we get approached by them and like suddenly they become on our radar. But a few years ago, yes, brands did influencer campaigns, content campaigns using content creators, but not to the scale that they are now.
Yeah.
So now as an agency, our clients are approaching us more and more to say, we're doing this campaign. We'd like to use a pool of 20 content creators. Who can you propose that we haven't used before? And they're doing more and more of these campaigns. So it just means the team has to find creators that haven't been used on campaigns before or haven't been used on competing campaigns. And that can be sometimes quite a challenge because, they're finding a creator that might be into cars, for example, or into, you know what I mean? You've really got to be scrolling through feeds and watching a lot of content in order to be able to be on top of your game and not only propose somebody who's relevant, but propose somebody that's actually going to be good at creating content and is easy to work with.
Yeah.
Because, so if I hope that answers your
So you have to be more, even much more of a consumer of the content than before.
It's easy because just content is everywhere, and you know what I mean. It's like you don't have to go looking for it. It's like you literally put it on your phone, and if it's good, you're going to just keep on.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, what's your favorite niche? I mean,
I'm a big fan of dance.
There's 20 categories.
Yeah.
I'm not saying which one is your favorite award category. I'm just asking which one is your favorite niche. Like, which hashtag do you go to?
I
like the dance. You like the dance.
Dance. Like, I'm just like, if Chad Jones is doing something like this, you know what I mean? But it also depends. Like, I saw Morgellings has created something new.
The
bedroom.
Yes.
And I'm really
it looks so cool.
Because for me, that's going to give me an insight into kind of like, just different conversations.
Yeah.
Also, I'm a massive fan of something funny. Like, what's something that's going to make me laugh, and I dig that. Do you know what I mean? So I guess funny, dance, like escapism. I run a business. Life can be like full on sometimes, and I just want to like have 5 minutes and somebody to crack me up, and then like my day is made.
I love it. I think we're going to close it off right there. Manuela, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, thank you so much.
By us, I mean we are us.
We are us.
We are us. Quasi is also here, so he's also us.
So I can tell you a little story. A little while ago, the guys were like, hey, we should start a podcast. I'm like, amazing idea, but like, you guys go forth and just make it happen. And when it's happening, like, cool, awesome. And here we are at the podcast. Quasi was very, very cool of him, organized Workshop 17 to give us this amazing space.
Yes.
Omar was like, I'll be the host.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. The last thing I want to do is be the first guest, but hey, they wrote me into it, and here we are.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You are my what's it called? The guinea pig.
Yes.
The guinea pig.
I was hoping for news, but it's fine.
Because it's the first one. We need to get the lighting right. We need to get
a long time to set up.
I'm so sorry.
I'm joking. It's fine.
I YouTubed things. Thank you so much for joining us on our very first episode of Season 1 of the Thumbstopper Podcast. A massive thank you goes to Workshop 17 and the Branson Center for Entrepreneurship for letting us record this in the incredible space, Studio 17. Coming up this season, we have a full roster of incredible content creators who give us an exclusive look into their daily lives, their stories, and their opinions. Remember to like and subscribe and follow. And that's it. Omar Moto, out.